A new month, a new scandal in the world of Harry Potter. J.K. Rowling has once again stirred controversy by stating that she hates the original trio of actors. Meanwhile, we've also learned that Fred and George will indeed remain white, and Snape will almost certainly be played by Papa Esset. The premiere date and start of filming have been revealed as well, so there's a lot to talk about. Let's for once start with the good news. Showrunners Mark Millard and Francesca Gardner have confirmed they won't radically change the design of Hogwarts. Key locations like the Great Hall will remain as they were, no need to reinvent the wheel. The creators say they're not the kind of people who change things just for the sake of it. They plan to explore the creative side of the story in areas of the castle that were present in the books but not shown in the films, like the Hogwarts kitchen, the Hufflepuff common room, St. Mungo's hospital, and the frequently mentioned but never shown staff room. It's an entirely reasonable approach. If it weren't for the damn Snape casting, we could call the showrunners geniuses. Change for the sake of change is a doomed approach, as we've said 1,000 times. It's better to focus on moments and characters from the books that never made it into the films. There's more than enough of them. Take the House Elf storyline with Hermione, for instance, which was very touching in the books but cut completely from the films. Of course, there's also a purely commercial aspect to this. The Hogwarts sets used in the films cost tens of millions of dollars and would be too expensive to redesign. Not to mention that there are dozens of theme parks around the world built in the visual style of the films. Radically changing things would mean changing them too, which is costly. So, if we're being honest, HBO might just be saving money here while making it look like a creative decision, but it benefits everyone, so we won't complain. Especially since the creators also mentioned they'll shoot the familiar sets from new angles using different cinematography techniques. Another innovation, Hogwarts will feel genuinely ancient. The books often noted that some rooms were relatively new, while others hadn't been touched since the days of Godric Gryffindor. The series promises to bring out the age and realism of the castle interiors. Great news all around, just like the casting of Hagrid, who will be played by Nick Frost, known for Shaun of the Dead. He's also appeared in other great comedies and horror films and will be voicing a character in the How to Train Your Dragon remake. Frost is a great choice, with no complaints from anyone, unlike Papa S said. HBO still hasn't officially confirmed his casting, but all major media outlets report the contract is signed. The final nail in the coffin came with a Production Weekly update announcing the series will begin filming in London this August, with Ised listed as a confirmed actor. Before diving into the 1,000 reasons why this is a terrible casting decision, let's quickly touch on other details. The working title of the series is The Dark Train, and the producers include David Heyman, who produced all 8 Potter films, Jeffrey Clifford, Neil Blair, Ruth Kinley, and J.K. Rowling herself. Heyman's involvement is promising. The others are mostly technical producers. As for Rowling, her level of creative control over the series remains a mystery. Though she's listed as a producer by default, what authority she holds is unclear. When asked on Twitter what actors make her immediately think a film will flop, Rowling implied there are 3, clearly referencing the original trio, who all criticized her during her recent controversies. She even said she wouldn't forgive them even if they publicly apologized. British tabloid Daily Mail quoted HBO insiders saying Rowling is very involved in the show's production and wants to make it a success, overshadowing Radcliffe, Grint, and Watson. However, it's likely that Rowling doesn't have veto power here. Legal experts suggest her contract with Warner Brothers may allow her to fully control film adaptations but not TV series, much like Marvel and Sony's arrangement for Spider-Man. Rowling may just be a figurehead here, included for marketing purposes to avoid fan backlash over her exclusion. HBO's boss even said Rowling has the right to express her opinion, but that doesn't mean she has full control, so the idea that she's using the series to get revenge on the original trio is likely overblown, which might be for the best, considering her recent creative projects like Fantastic Beasts and The Cursed Child weren't exactly hits. On a brighter note, Fred and George Weasley will be white. The casting agency responsible for finding twin actors announced a search for 2 red-headed 13-year-old boys for a major project this summer. While Harry Potter isn't mentioned directly, the timing and requirements leave no doubt. The listing also states that only white actors will be considered. Thank Merlin, at least HBO won't invent weird storylines suggesting Arthur Weasley's infidelity. We've got enough to deal with just with Snape. There's a theory that HBO is purposely withholding confirmation of the Snape actor, as they did with Dumbledore, Hagrid, and McGonagall, perhaps to give themselves an out based on audience reaction. But honestly, it seems more like a marketing strategy. Remember, The Last of Us and the endless memes about Bella Ramsey as Ellie? HBO had to know fans wouldn't be thrilled. Was she cast purely for talent at the expense of appearance? Of course not. With thousands of actors vying for each role, there's always someone who can match both talent and looks. Some believe Ramsay was chosen precisely to generate controversy, and it worked. The Last of Us ended up being a hit, and the memes gave it free advertising. The same goes for House of the Dragon. The race-swapped Valerion sparked thousands of memes, but the show was good enough that people accepted it. HBO benefited from the discussion. Now we have two major HBO adaptations with obvious miscasts that sparked massive discourse, and both shows succeeded anyway, riding waves of memes and publicity. Coincidence? Maybe, but many suspect that a black Snape in Harry Potter serves the same purpose. Think about it. If they had cast a white actor, we'd just be stuck with tired debates about whether the series needed a reboot at all. Many would have ignored it altogether. But now, the whole world is talking about Black Snape, getting angry, posting comments, and spreading awareness of the series. The idea is that once the show comes out and is solid in all other respects, criticizing it over one actor will feel petty. Boom, marketing win. But will it work? That's the question. Because for this tactic to succeed, they really shouldn't have picked Snape. Just imagine the scene from the book where Harry sees the Hogwarts professors for the first time, all white faces that don't stand out, until he notices one black professor and says there's something he doesn't like about him. That's no longer just a harmless change. This isn't Bella Ramsey or House Valerian. This is Harry Potter, a series with massive cultural penetration and generations of fans. Changing Snape's race adds a new layer that was never in the books, and if they cast a black actor as Quirrell, you've made the only black professor the villain. If it's Flitwick, the only black professor is also a dwarf. No matter how you look at it, changing Snape's race adds a narrative layer that simply wasn't there. This isn't like Game of Thrones, which most hadn't read. This is Harry Potter, rivaled in fan engagement only by The Lord of the Rings. And what HBO is doing feels like trying to ride the same wave as The Rings of Power, which was a failure. So we're left with this. 99% of the news around the series is great and gives us hope. But on the other side of the scale is non-canon Snape. Whether the series can succeed with this approach is up to you to decide. For now, that's all. See you next time, friends.